All right, welcome back to Deadwax, everybody.
Oh my God, is this real? Are we really
It's
back?
actually happening. I'm so excited. Today's a little bit of an odd episode to kick back with because we happen to be remote. We had a thing scheduled in person and then it got canceled last minute. And so here we are. We're doing our first remote episode of Deadwax. We're going to listen to Bodysnatchers. Should we jump right in, Ryan?
I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite songs. Let's jump right in. Is it too late for me to quit music?
I feel like I'm going to say what I always say after listening to something truly excellent, which is like, how do you even begin to talk about that? It's such a demonic, perfect expression of humanity. It is so ape-ish and just like it is I feel like we're hearing the inside of a person breaking. It's so beautiful to listen to.
Such a good combination of guttural, instinctual, basic, and also just like highbrow, super intelligent, crafty. It's just like it's all that shit. It's the lower guttural stuff and the brainy stuff. Just the perfect balance. I mean, there's a gazillion things to talk about.
You sort of hit it on the head there, which is what I love about Radiohead. There's a lot of like intellectual music that I think is interesting to listen to. And then there's like a lot of pop music that just like hits you in the feels and it's inarguably like good and like, oh, it just gets you going, but it doesn't really stimulate your brain.
Yeah.
Radiohead has hit this incredible overlap of so brainy and interesting and different and fresh and like really smart harmony and phrasing and chord structures and melodies. But it doesn't lose the visceral hit. Like, it's a banger emotionally, start to finish. And they've
100%.
nailed that overlap. Yeah. It's such a rare combo that somebody can do that.
Part of that is due to Thom Yorke's genius, because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not schooled, right? He just puts his fingers and finds the cool chords. And, right, he's like your beautiful wife, Natalie. He just comes at it from such a organic place, not a music school place. And then I think the other part of Radiohead's genius is that this is just one of the all-time great examples of a true band. And you have, you know, the sixth man being Nigel Godrich. And you have, like, Thom Yorke, like, just the way that they're all able to bring the best out of each other. I hear Johnny in this. You know, you hear the sound
Johnny's
design
so
stuff.
loud in this. Yeah. Can we talk about this? Speaking of what we hear, the guitar tone at the beginning. This has always been one of the most fascinating guitar tones for me. It's probably in my top 10 guitar tones of all time. And I'll tell you what's interesting about it, for me at least. I mean, not only does it just like sound like a muffled cloud demon, but it's like what's interesting about it technically is it sounds like there's a lot happening above like 4K, 5K. Like usually guitar amps like roll off after, you know, whatever, 5 or 6 or, you know, they roll off there. And that's what makes a guitar amp sound interesting is like the frequencies that are missing.
Mm-hmm.
But with this guitar sound, there's a lot of white noise fuzz stuff happening on top that's way in the upper end of the frequency range. And
Can we listen to that again?
Let's listen again, because it makes it sound unlike any other guitar sound. The only people who have done something like this is White Stripes. But let's listen to that intro guitar sound again. Okay, cut that. There's like shit going on at like 8K, 9K, 10. It's like all the sibilance of a voice in that guitar tone. It's insane.
It's really cool. it kind of sounds like there's a bunch of room compressed. It sounds like an amp that's distorting, and then there's maybe like a condenser mic, and it's picking up like more high frequency stuff out of the amp than you're used to hearing with like an SM57. And then it also sounds like that mic is squashed to shit in a small room, and then there's some post-production distortion on top of it as well.
I don't think this is what they did, but I've gotten tones like this before. Do you ever use the Snare Buzz plugin? Or do you ever record a guitar amp with a snare drum with the snare turned on next to the guitar amp? And then you put a microphone
what's the
there?
Snare Buzz plugin?
The Snare Buzz plugin simulates the resonance of a snare drum. So, like, here's my snare drum. Now, you can hear that if I tap my snare drum. But
so
if I were to play like
buzz, it just adds
like if I play my
mic.
piano, if I play my piano next to this snare drum, you can kind of hear the snares a little bit. Like, I don't know if you can hear it over my microphone, but
and who makes the Snare Buzz plugin?
It is Waves Factory, I think is what they're called. Not Waves, Waves Factory.
Huh. Okay, so that's a good plugin tip.
So here's what it does. It's got like a lot of high frequency on it. It's just it's just like snare buzz, and you can change the types of snares and stuff like that. And if you run a guitar through it, you get all the resonance of the snares on top of the guitar. Now, I don't think that's what they were doing in this case, but it does sound like there's a resonator hitting when the guitar hits, or like a noise follow type plugin, like a RC20 type thing, where you can set noise generation so that it follows the envelope of the input frequency.
Okay, can we talk about harmony for a second?
Yeah.
So the whole first couple minutes of the song is just a pedal point, which is basically when you have one bass note, and then the harmony changes on top of the bass note. So it kind of sounds like there's this D, with no real. The third is not being particularly articulated, whether it's a major or a minor third, but you have a dominant 7 in that line. And then you have this descending figure over the D, which is, it sounds like starting
flat
on the
7 to a
the
6.
flat 7 to the 6
Right.
to the flat 6 to the 5.
They skip the flat 6 in most of them. So so we're in D, and then the line is this C.
Can you put your
B,
camera down so we can see your hands a little bit?
To A. I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can. I think that's going to be too much, right?
Ooh, that's
So it's-
nice.
You can just see my fanny pack,
Nice fanny pack.
So we're in D, and it does this kind of is the line, right? The line is that flat 7, 6, and then 5.
Right, and what that's implying is sort of one dominant, or even a flat 7, like a C over D. Can you play a C over D? Yeah, and yeah. So it's kind of like
and I kind of hear it.
Right.
I don't want. I don't want.
Yeah.
Right, because he sings, I don't want. Dun, dun, dun. I don't want. For the holes. Check for holes.
Up until there, really the only thing that's emphasizing the descending line is the melody, which Johnny is doubling on the guitar. When the vocal melody hits the 7 or the 6, you hear Johnny sort of doubling that.
Well, so what's interesting is, right, Thom is singing, I don't want, da 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 da, right? And then he goes, I have no idea.
Before that, he hits the 9, and that 9, because the melody has been so 3, 4, 5, 6. When he goes up and hits that 9, it's such a cool moment. It's so effective.
Yeah, And when he does that, right, Johnny starts playing the vocal line. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you hear Johnny hit that third, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about in the chorus. Johnny starts playing the vocal line.
So they sort of switch. They kind of switch. Like Johnny takes over that vocal melody.
It sounds like that's happening on another guitar. Sounds like there's two guitars at that point.
It's like a new guitar sound. It's a much more pinched,
darker,
nervy. Yeah. It almost sounds like a different amp too.
Jack, I feel like you're so good at this style of sound design and recording. Can we break down up until this point in the song? Let's deconstruct the dish. What are we hearing? There's drums.
Great.
There's like a drums with a ride cymbal.
So it is what's incredible about this. I think what is truly incredible is that this is just a band. It's just drums, guitar, bass, and voice. That's it. And then when the chorus hits, there's an overdub. Yeah.
And when the chorus hits, I think there's two overdubs. I think there's a second guitar doing that pinched line that you're talking about. And then there's like a really cool dark harmony vocal. Do you hear that?
I didn't hear that. Let's listen to that chorus again.
Listen to the chorus again, and listen for Johnny's sort of weird. It almost sounds like he's singing slow.
It's the first time I ever heard that. Yeah.
And he's singing that line, the descending line.
Ghastly. It's ghoulish.
Yes.
It sounds like Thom is haunted. It sounds like the band is possessed. And that ghoulish voice coming in just enhances that entire feeling of this demonic interior, you know? It's really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I think what's cool, there's a couple things that are cool here. The first is within the guitar part, there's a backbeat. Listen to how Johnny's playing the snare drum on the guitar until the drums come in.
He's playing the whole arrangement.
Playing the whole song
in that intro.
Yeah.
He's playing the whole song with the drums and everything.
And then when the drums come in, they're frantic. You know, they have so much energy and they're frantic, but at the same time, because of the pedal point, there's all of this tension. There's just tension building, and you pair that with the modal mixture of the mode mixture of like, are we in a minor key? Are we in D minor? Or are we in D major? So all of that together, along with Thom's just brilliant vocal performance, just creates this stew of all of these emotions that we've been talking about.
I think that what you're calling frantic drums, one thing that I love about great mixes and great audio engineering is when they hear a part and they like a drum part and they're like, oh, let's mix the drums like this for this song. Instead of like, here's how I mix drums when I'm mixing drums. And in this particular track, listen to how loud the ride cymbal is mixed compared to, say, the kick drum or the snare. Can we listen to when the drums come in? Listen to the volume of the ride cymbal relative to everything else. Let's take a listen again. What it is, I don't know. Before the like, that's ride cymbal cranked up all the way.
It's so loud, and listen to the placement of how he's playing the ride cymbal. It's on the very front edge of the beat, which just creates this feeling. I mean, if he just placed all the same exact notes on paper on the other side of the beat, it wouldn't feel like that.
It's an unrelenting eighth note ride cymbal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's like mechanical.
And they're all kind of
almost.
the same volume.
They're all the same volume. It's just this banger of a beat, and it really propels the whole song. I think it's such an interesting choice to leave that ride cymbal so high up in the mix. It really adds to the energy and frantic sort of chaos of the mix.
Okay, so let's listen to the next section when the harmony starts to change.
So what I love about that, and that's got to be Johnny, right? That beautiful
but
what is that? It's like a theremin kind of sound.
But there's counterpoint within that line, right? There's one going up
and
one going down.
And Thom is also kind of harmonizing with it as well. So there's like multiple people taking that. There's a bunch of people doing that.
What's going on in the bass? Does the bass go to a flat 6 there?
Yes, the bass does. The bass goes to a flat 6 there. And the interesting thing about this though is like maybe I'm overanalyzing this, or maybe I'm going into freshman English mode here, but fuck it, that's what we do on this show. So like there are so many elements of this that sound like ghosts, that sound like the haunting of a person, right?
I mean, somebody's getting their body snatched, Jack.
Yes. Like this is, but that's what it sounds like. It feels like your body is being disintermediated from your soul. It feels like a haunting. And that vibrato on the that is like literally a 1950s like ghost haunting movie. And then like all of the mumbling, it sounds like ghosts like coming out of a grave. Like everything.
Yeah, it sounds like a horror film.
Everything feels like a horror movie. It's really, but all musical and emotional. It's not just like horror SFX. You know, it sounds musical. Anyway, so yes, the bass there does go to that B flat. So it goes to the flat 6.
Okay, cool.
So there's 2 lines. The first is, and the second is, and so you get this, and the one that goes is what it sounds like. It sounds like this, almost sounds like you're puking out your soul.
There's those suspensions over the movement, the new bass movement, which is the first time that we've deviated from that pedal. Can you play those 2 lines on top of the bass movement? Yeah, and that second chord, so the first chord that you're playing, what are those notes? B flat,
B flat, F, B flat.
Okay, so it's our flat 6.
The thing is, it's the way it's played is it slides down.
Right. Yeah.
It does this.
Yeah, it delays the resolution so as to provide even more tension.
Yes.
Okay, so that second chord, can you play those 3 notes? The 9,
so it's
the 4.
Well, so here's the thing: is it's sorry. Here it is.
Yes. What are those notes? What are those notes?
It's D, E, G.
D, E, G.
Yeah. So D is in the bass, and then the E resolves down to a D. The G resolves up to an A. So it's
and we still kind of have the B flat in our head. So it's really that minor 4 with a 6 in it, like a G minor 6 or a B flat 6 over.
So let's listen to
D.
when the bass movement hits the D again, because I think you're right that the bass we still feel like it's in B flat, so it almost feels like this.
Yeah, and then the 9 takes some time to resolve once
Exactly.
the root has already resolved. So we get that.
So can we listen?
As well.
Let's listen one more time, and let's listen when the bass change happens, because I think it affects the way that harmony feels on top. Let's listen to that bass change again. Okay, so it does.
I mean, really, it's still pedaling. The pedal doesn't really go away.
But it definitely feels like B flat, and then when the notes are here, and then it changes to D before it resolves. So you get this E G over a D.
You get the feeling that they're not. The reason why this works so well is that they're not thinking in terms of, oh, I'm moving from this chord to this chord to this chord. They're melodic, 3 different melodic ideas that within themselves are just beautiful melodies, and when you put them on top of each other, you hear, chords happen that could be, interpreted and analyzed in different ways. But I think it's this sort of vertical, or what am I trying to say? Horizontal approach to harmony, as opposed to this chord, then this chord, then this chord.
And that's something that I struggle with musically, I think, is I love harmony so much that I think about what chords come when. And actually, what it sounds like Radiohead is doing is like, here's a cool guitar riff, and then somebody adds another melody on top of that, and then somebody adds another melody on top of that. And they're not like mapping out the harmony of the song. They're like coming up with cool parts and hooks and lines. And the way that they interleave together is just beautiful. It actually is. It's a little bit how I think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but when I listen to like Brad Mehldau or Keith Jarrett play the piano, and you hear all that wonderful inner voice movement and like how they're thinking about all these different melodies at once, it's almost like they're, this finger is Ed O'Brien, this finger is Johnny Greenwood, this finger is Thom Yorke. And they're just, Brad Mehldau or Keith, they're just like constructing multiple melodies at the same time and really thinking, horizontally and time-based instead of vertically and harmony-based.
Which harkens back to classical, all the great classical composers. It's just, how they wrote. They're not sitting there with a guitar thinking of, okay, I'm going to go C to G to D. They're just writing for each instrument, and the chords is what happens as a result. We can continue to analyze section by section of the song, but I think one of the most special things about this song is Thom Yorke's vocal performance.
Yep.
And it might be fun to just put a spotlight on that and like really pay attention to why he's just one of the greatest singers ever. I remember listening to an interview with Thom Yorke, and someone asked him, said, "Thom, you're so great at so many different things. You're a great performer, you're a great songwriter, you're a great lyricist, and you're a great singer. Like, which one of those do you feel like you're best at?" And he said, "Singer." It just has such a unique, cool approach to singing that maybe we could just listen to kind of the song from there, about where we stopped, and listen to what the frick Thom is doing with his voice.
Okay, so 2 things come to mind immediately. A disregard for notes, right? Tom's not singing. I mean, he occasionally hits notes, but there is that one moment where he sings. He's like swooping through this cluster of like, it's a minor 3, but then it's a 9, and then it's kind of a 1, and then it goes down to the flat 7, and it's just through, and he's not.
It's coming from such an emotional place.
Yes, he's not trying to like hit notes.
Right.
He's just expressing a feeling through his vocal cords.
Yes. Yeah, his instrument transcends written music. It's just
It does. You could not notate that.
no.
Can we listen to just where we stopped about 10 seconds before we stopped, Jason? There's a wonderful moment where his phrasing is also very interesting. Let's listen to those 10 seconds. Okay, I don't know what he's saying. It sounds like, yeah, my friends, I don't know what he's saying. But the timing is it's not, there's no time, there's no rhythm of that. It's just like this, yeah, my friends. He's just like angry and saying this like fast-paced line, and it's also a disregard for rhythm. It's a disregard for notes and a disregard for like traditional rhythms and pickups. He just is singing what he's feeling.
And just to expand upon the note thing, there's so many notes in between a major third and a minor third. You know what I mean? There's like a gajillion different notes there, and if you listen to where he's placing, just like even in between that half step, there's so much emotion to be pulled from every cent in between, A440 and whatever a half step above that is. And he's just playing upon all that nuance so masterfully.
It's not like he doesn't have the control, right? He has the control.
No, it's so deliberate.
Yes, if he wants to sing,
it's not by accident. Yeah.
No, he's deliberately choosing to ignore. I don't think he's singing those microtonal sort of things well, is he doing it on purpose? You know what I mean? He's not trying to hit microtones. I don't think he's saying, I'm going to do a microtone between a 9 and a 1. I don't think that's what's going on. I think he's literally just tapping into his id.
As pure expression. But
right.
But yeah, the control that he has is masterful. I mean, he's not doing it as a result of not having control or technique. He's just like he's singing from such a deep emotional place, and we're just analyzing which microtones come as a result.
Let's listen to the next section, because there's this one lovely acoustic guitar part where the harmony changes a lot.
Great.
And I want to hear that section before we wrap. I mean,
oh my God.
So the other really interesting thing is, like, even getting into that acoustic guitar section, they like cut 2 bars.
Right.
Right? They don't let you resolve. You're used to hearing now, but they go, and then they go right into the new chord, which is this G minor. So you think they're going to do that section again, and you're going to hear that lovely synth again, and instead they just give you the first bar of it and then move on to the next section. It's so bizarre, but it works.
So they're defying your expectation in 3 ways. They're doing it with phrasing by introducing a new section on an unexpected part of the phrase or the measure. They're doing it with harmony by giving you a complete. Where do we go there chord-wise, Jack? What is that first new chord?
So we go to the 4 minor. We go to a G minor. So we're in D. And then we go to this G minor. And then they go to D minor. And then they go to like
Johnny's first melody note
over
the G minor. Is that an A? What's he playing there?
So what's going on there is it's Johnny's playing the 9, so the harmony goes to G minor, but Johnny plays.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like we're going to the minor 4. It feels like we've modulated, because I think there's so much tension because of the unrelenting pedal point of the D, and that's really the first time that the bass just moves all the way up to the G without keeping the pedal point. So it feels like such a departure. So he's gotten us. They've gotten us with unexpected rhythm, unexpected harmony in the bass note, and also the instrumentation changes. As you mentioned, that's when the acoustic guitar comes in for the first time, and we have Thom taking a break and Johnny taking over with that beautiful melody, the guitar melody.
And that melody is, which is so simple, right? But if you put it over the G minor, and then
yeah, and what's the chord after the D minor, Jack? Is that an F over C?
It's a A minor over C. Is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, if it's an F minor, then it would be, which it's not. There's no. I think it's either like a. Yeah, I think it's A minor over C.
So it's a C6 essentially.
Yeah. So the reason it sounds like a six, a C6, is because Johnny's playing the A.
Right.
When you go back up, right? So he goes.
Yeah.
Right? So it makes it feel, because there's an A on top for the C, you get that nice melancholic C major 6 or A minor first position kind of sound, and it just makes it feel so sad.
You also hear the E resolving to the D over the G minor chord. So they're just like they're using all of these really cool flavors within each chord to elicit this insane, cool, haunting emotion. Can you play, Jack, the G minor with the A in the melody, but also the E resolving to the D? Yeah, so there's all these suspensions and resolutions that just pull on your heartstrings.